Now that we have registers, we can now log into the system using the previous email and password. So you'll have to type the full email address here and your password. If you forgot your password, you can use this forgot password link. Okay, now we are into the system. In the system, we have four parts. I want to give a simple explanation of what's the purpose of this system if you are unfamiliar with it. So the Ministry of Higher Education requires each faculty member to submit three scores or three documents. The first one is the portfolio, teacher portfolio. Uh, the second one is CAT, continuous academic development, and the third one is the feedback results. So this system is responsible of the portfolio, CAT, and the feedback results. Not this system doesn't take the feedback; it just stores the results so that we prepare the document and that's sent to the Ministry of Higher Education at the end of the academic year. So this portfolio includes almost all the activities you have, academic activities you have done during the academic year. Okay, for example, presentations, uh, papers, interviews, all that, almost everything. Okay, the CAT system, continuous academic development. This calculates points. Uh, so each faculty member, according to their academic title, requires a certain amount of points. For example, an assistant lecturer requires 25 points. And in points, we have two types of points, active points and passive points. Some some activities are considered active points. For example, presentations are an active, three active points. You get three active points for a presentation you make. You get five active points for a paper. You get two active points, for example, for an interview. However, some other activities are considered passive, such as attendance at presentations or attendance at conferences or um, yeah, so these sort of things you have to be aware of. So the purpose of this one is to calculate your points total. And then the feedback results, this is something you do not enter it. You have nothing to do with this one. This is entered by the chairpersons after they've been calculated from the SONUS system. So the purpose of our system is to save these two informations in a friendly way. Okay, so here, once you've logged into the system, we have part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4. uh, these Some of these, for example, part 1 is directly um, associated with the portfolio. Part 2 is both portfolio and CAT, and part 3 is the same. So you do not really need to know which part this is directly uh, considered associated with. You just need to fill them in. So we'll start with part 1. After we come to the part 1, we see 5 subparts here. The first and the most important thing that you have to do it first is your personal information and academic background. Here, in this form, you have your full name. You can change it here if you want to. This is both entrance and updating, so you have to select a department here, for example, information technology or any other type. Your academic title, your current academic title, whether you are a senior lecturer, um, assistant professor, associate professor. When did you start teaching? So these questions are obvious. You have to answer them all. This personal picture is just to show it here. So nothing mandatory, as you don't see the red star. Um, Once you filled them in, you have to save this. Okay. Now, if you go back to the home page and to part 1, we will see a check here, which means you have selected your department and you've completed this part. Now, for other parts, for example, education and academic certificate, you just click out or view. So all the forms are pretty much like this. You you have an add button here and a view tab, okay, add tab and a view tab. You have to add your records here. For example, we need to add our certificates here. So education and academic certificates. If you have multiple certificates, which most of us do, because at least you have to hold a master's degree to fill in this form, so you have to start with bachelor's or a high diploma if you have one. So department, I'm just going to fill in mine, uh, computer engineering. Yeah, so you're granted, and then we'll save it. After we save it, we'll get a success message. And then in the view tab, we'll see our record here. So now this form only adds a single record. So if I have multiple, I will have to do it again. For example, for the masters, I have to uh, enter another record. So like this. Yeah. Now, as you can see, I have two records here. So if you have multiple records, you'll add it. Now, if I go back to the home page into part one, I'll see a number added here, which is the academic, the certificates that I have here. Okay, two. Why two? Because I have filled in two records. That doesn't mean you have 2 points, active or passive point. It just means that you have added two records. Okay, so this is like a summary for you to know what you have filled in and what you haven't. So we have academic title, language qualification, computer skills. They're all the same form, okay? And these required fields are from the Ministry of Higher Education. Okay, so software name, for example, my, for example, Ad, Adobe Photoshop. What level of use? Good, very good, average, I don't know, good. So a record. You can add multiple records, that same here. So this is all about part one. And in part two, we have teaching undergraduates, teaching postgraduates, student supervision, and defending sessions of um, postgraduates. So if we start teaching undergraduates, you have to select the department. This is basically not necessarily your department, so the department in which you are teaching a course. Let's say English department, course name literature, uh, semester, either it's fall, spring, or summer, stage or course level, hours per week, how many hours per week, for example, 4 or 6, number of sections, how many sections do we have? So this one is um, hours per week per section. Okay, so if you have 10 sections, you just add per one section, not the total of hours. Number of students per section, so uh, let's say 25. Now you'll have to add your syllabus here, which is max file size is 2 megabyte, allowed file types is PDF, doc, and docx. So you'll add your record here and it will also be saved. So let's just add this one. I hope this is not more than 2 megabytes. Okay, the updating might take some time depending on your internet connection. Now I have added a record here. So uh, teaching postgraduate student supervision. Um, I'll just tell you something here. This is the start date and the end date because the most of the start date and end dates are similar. So we've made it that if you add a first record for your first title, the supervision, then the second one will automatically get that. start date and end date, you only need to change it if they are different. Okay, so if I add I'm just trying to do something fast here. First year in the graduate, so let's say 10 2019. Well, that's just not correct. So here it's just 10 3 2019, and then I store it. Now if I go back to add a record, I'll see these dates here already. So if I want to, I can change them, but this will help you if you have multiple supervisions, and for other parts we have done that's the same thing. Now I also have a point here. Defending session of postgraduates. These are all similar, so I'm not going to explain this. This is the end of this video. Thank you.